Next up on PTL, we highlight the massive matchups around the Premier Leagues. Help enhance your fantasy LCS game and get a little transcendental with our last hit. There's no time to lose. PrimeTime League starts right now.
Quiere salir jugando, se viene el cuadra, se viene el Penta. Penta kill de Lulu, Penta kill de Don Cholo. Increíble jugada de Gaming.
The desperate power's on, he locks him up, he comes up with a double kill. Gravity's got the game.
Unicorns of love, unicorns of life. They bring themselves back from the brink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of PrimeTime League, the only show that regularly shatters time to bring you all the League of Legends highlights. I'm Riving DeBiz III, along with my co-host, David Freak-Turley.
Hey, everyone. It's going to be awesome today. We are all set to phase dive straight into the action around the world. No time for a chrono break.
No, there is not. We're starting things off with an announcement about Worlds. Earlier today, Riot announced the final seeds per region. It's actually fairly similar to last year's regional seeds, with the exception of Southeast Asia and Taiwan. This year, the GPL split, with the top teams in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau making up the LMS, and with the GPL now representing the rest of Southeast Asia.
So the LMS retains the two guaranteed seeds from the former GPL, and now the current GPL has a qualification path through as an international wildcard. So there's going to be two international wildcard qualifiers that will take place later this year as teams vie for one of two wildcard slots at Worlds. In qualifier number 1, CIS, Brazil, and Latin America will duke it out, and Southeast Asia, Turkey, Japan, and Oceania will battle it out in qualifier number 2, one team from each of those spots. Hit up LOEsports.com for more information.
I know I will be. Definitely a spot you want to be. Let's toss out the Time Winder to take a look back at last week's BF Game of the Week. That's where Edward Gaming and Invictus battled for control of the standings. Edward 9-1, Invictus 7-5. These guys definitely want to start battling to get to the top spot so they can be the guy to get the trophy. They want to steal it from Edward Gaming.
Oh, absolutely. Number one team in the world, Edward Gaming. And what better way to start things out than Mako 1v2ing in the enemy jungle and just chasing down Zatai. Here's the Ignite. Having a flash Q to finish it out. Thank you very much.
Hashtag worth.
Hashtag, yeah, great. Wonderful, wonderful start.
Not a problem there for the team as well. EDG still making strong moves in. Kitty's actually getting caught out here for a second, but IG really able to turn this one around.
Yeah, Maokai stuck underneath a inhibitor turret. Rookie cleanses the stun from Annie, gets a revenge twin fang,
Ooh.
and just, it's so easy to chase down now Zatai without even stopping to auto attack, just Qs down two people in a row. Double kill for him. Invictus now with a pretty sizable lead later on to the game. Desperation Baron, 7,000 gold down, they get it.
Got it. Thank you very much. Zatai trying to contest with the rest of the team. Trapped in the Baron pit.
Oh, the Emperor's Divide, so good.
Yep.
Fully locks up two melee champions who have no way of getting out of it. Flash and the move blocks were down. Easy chase down thanks to Def's ulti. More damage from Pawn. An amazing team fight that wins in the game.
Kid goes back in. Maybe I can get some more kills. Nope, that's the ace. EDG's in the base, and that is going to be game one. Smiles across the face.
All right, so game one incredibly close. Really smart play by both these teams. Invictus uncharacteristically very intelligent in their rotations over in game one. But game two is just a bloodbath. Mako going hard, looking for some knockups, and Kitty's not in a good spot.
Teleports on both sides, but one obviously faster than the other. Can actually see Zatai having to run out of that one himself as they already start to pick up the game. EDG looking to get a lead.
Exactly, and their new top laner, Amazing J, on Cinder Hulk, Skirmisher, Saber, Fizz, just goes massive. A double kill, chasing down on the Kid. Amazing J just has been nothing but really great for Edward Gaming here in the top lane. His split pushing power is amazing. A 24-minute surrender forced.
That was just 2 minutes later after what we just saw.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a brutal game, too. Incredibly great game by EDG.
And to add some expert insight into that series, let's bring in Julian Pastry Time Carr. How's it going, Pastry?
I'm excellent, Riv. How are you?
Not too bad. So that match was a big win for Edward and helped propel them to first place. What was the key for them?
I mean, to be honest, EDG are always going to be a great team. They'll play against anyone just fantastically. But honestly, if we just dissect this series, first of all, it was incredibly close, especially in that first game. But EDG came up clutch, pulled out some massive team fights, and had that strong decision making. But as far as the whole series MVP goes, I'm actually going to give it to Mako, the support player who's still a rookie. Very underrated, I think, as far as a general support players go, but he showed up big at MSI. He's gotten better and better as the season goes on, and he's just easily the best support in China at this point.
All right, man. Thank you for that. And stick around for just a moment because we want you to comment on our second LPL highlight. And next up were two teams looking to climb the table, with Snake hoping to catch Edward Gaming, while LGD continued to move up the standings after taking down Team WE 2-0. All
right, LGD versus Snake. Snake had so much hype at the end of the spring split, expected to maybe even make the finals as a team. This time around, they're finally living up to it. Despite Godby having first blood, by the way, goes hard with the Doran's Ring and a Flask and wins that fight.
First blood and his Orianna, but it looks like when you are unstoppable, those are the things you can play against. Beautiful flash on the body slam there.
Yeah, just the return distortion. I mean, absolutely amazing. Here's Godby behind in the base. Goodbye. Yeah.
Crystal was there like, I just wanted a piece, man.
Wanted a piece. 9-kill lead at the end of it all. 41.5 minutes in, and that's 1-0 so far for Snake. These guys have been having a very strong summer split. On to game 2.
On to game 2. More solo kills to come out. Godby getting a little bit of revenge here in the beginning. It was a blue card. He needed the gold. I don't think it would have mattered anyways.
Maybe not so much, but Godby 2 first bloods in 2 games. He's still obviously a very impressive player, but Flan is about to get some help because Yu is here. Who's going to gank? Imp. Bye.
Yep, the focus onto Imp. Unstoppable, still able to come in with the plays, and once again, you just see how much control they can put in these fights.
Yeah, and Crystal is now just massive. We haven't seen this Callista yet this game, but here she is, and she's killing basically everyone. 12-5 in kills, and it gets worse from there.
The coach absolutely loving it. Crystal 5-1-6 right now, and you can see the team setting up camp here, able to take down LGD as they try to enter the jungle. Snake,
go good Imp!
They were slithering everywhere.
Whoops. All right, Ella, run! Oh no, Ella, please heal. Okay. Yeah, how about a summoner heal and a Mikhail's Crucible to keep you alive? Nice bait. That was all planned. I'm gonna dive the fountain just to make sure they chase me down. 20-5, 2-0 for Snake. What a great game. All right, so after beating LGD 2-0, Snake was looking to continue their run when they faced Invictus. Of course, a very tall task ahead of them here. IG, one of the strongest teams in China right now. Just a second ago, we saw them give a really close run for their money to Edward Gaming. So IG, what else are they gonna do except make some great plays?
Making plays in the beginning. 3 guys already going up 3 minutes in. You know they were trying to swap the lanes and get things started, throw their opponents off, and it worked.
It did work. IG's comp, 3 tanks, a Sivert, and an Orianna. Just pick any fight you want. They even gave Crystal Draven. I would never have done that. I would have died if I were Kid right there, but not Kid. IG finally get the pile drive down. Just the tank ball coming through. Cacao and Kitties, how about they're going to chase down Ella as well? Just not much these guys can do when you're down 3-1 in champions.
Very nicely done. IG really able to just dance around the fights. Looks like they had Snake figured out in this game. Flying through, Cacao steals the dragon and flashes out. Boar or not, he is one nimble man.
OG and Kakako right there. Great play by him. The dragon steal, the get out. 15-6 in kills. Yu tries to get away, but he's basically on top of the entire enemy team. How about some chain stuns? How about some follow-up? Some more kills for IG.
What a collapse coming in for IG here. 16-6. You can see these fights from Snake are kind of the gopher brokes that we need to get back in the game, but it didn't work.
Yeah, they are not kidding around though. IG really crushing everybody. 19-6. The surrender inside the base. 30-minute win. Impressive by these guys.
And after dropping the first game, Snake looked to salvage this series in game 2.
It starts out pretty well. Beast on his signature Nidalee, the long-range snipe. Almost a good distortion away, but not quite happen. And Crystal this time around on Vayne, making a much, much better case for himself. He comes back, Kitties. Not much this poor Nautilus can do anymore.
Freak, you're a Vayne player. 14 minutes in, 2 kills, 3 kills. Now it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, when you get into a 2-on-2 fight with Zerk Greaves and a finished Ruin King that early on, you know you're in a really good spot. A full whiff on the Sejuani ult, and Crystal can do whatever he wants all game.
Ella hooks Cacao. Flandre, like you said, the massive ult on the backline. Snake gonna get the ace on IG here, finding them in their own jungle.
Everyone gets a chance to chase down to pick up some kills, pretty much spread across the board. 2-3 on Hecarim, 1 on Vayne, 1 on Azir. This is just an absolutely wonderful match. 10-4 in kills after that fight, and it actually prompts the surrender 25 minutes in, just from winning the lanes and Crystal being massive.
Thanks for staying with us, Pastry. So that victory sent Snake into second place, but they drew even against OMG and IG. What's your take on the team?
I mean, Snake are awesome. Like, anyone who watched Snake in the spring season really appreciates just how fun and creative they can be, but they're actually growing into be a really strong, mature team that I think has learnt a lot from their practice in the last split, if you want to put it like that. They had a pretty strong playoffs performance despite being like a secondary team moving in from the LSPL to the LPL. And for me, when I think about Snake, There's lots of good players. Crystal especially, Beast is very flashy, but it's all about Flandre for me, and he's been playing absolutely out of his mind recently. The man can carry, his mechanics are amazing, his strategy is amazing, his teleports are aggressive, he's really fun to watch, and Flandre is a player that is only going to get better with time. So if you guys want to follow a Chinese player that's kind of up and coming, that really puts his team on his back and is starting to get even more carry farm and carry potential from his team, the team's rounding out nicely, but Flandre honestly has finally started leading it in the summer.
All right, Julian, thanks for the tip. We'll keep an eye out. As always, thank you for joining us, and good luck with the matches this week. And with 3 weeks down and 8 to go, here's a look at the current standings in China. Edward Gaming is in first place with Snake hot on their heels. Meanwhile, everyone from QG down to Master 3 are looking to close in as the teams head into week 4.
And over in Korea, the standings continue to change. At this point, last split, the Tigers and CJ met with perfect 3-0 records. Back then, the Tigers won. They continued their dominant performance all spring split long. But this time around in the summer split, very different story. The Tigers were desperately looking to climb out of the bottom of the table. CJ was on top. In game 1, the Tigers had a different story.
Yeah, we started off in the bottom lane here. Gorilla with the Alistar. Flash pulverized into the headbutt backwards.
Ooh, man, Prey barely lives. Kill goes to Gorilla. And the Tigers kept doing well. 14-2 already. Mid lane getting sieged down. CJ have had no objectives all game long.
Ooh, really rough game here for Space. Cassiopeia really starting to get strong as well, and Kuro is not going to be done yet.
6-0-9 for the mid lane. Even though you dive on top of turrets, guess what? Ulted Alistar's the one taking it, so the rest of your team can dive all you want. He just does not
standing
care
here
about
forever.
this.
Oh, wait, I actually care a little bit. Flash out.
Headbutt steal. Really, really well played. All support should do that when you're about to win the game. So game 1, Ku Tigers, pretty damn nice. Game 2, CJ looking to fire back a little bit, and Coco's Jace was absolutely wonderful.
Oh, man, that shock blast. And they're not done yet. Magical Journey, not going to save anybody.
And they dodge around, so it's just a golden gorilla who goes down easily. And this turret juggling is really pretty amazing. It doesn't really matter, actually. He just gets away.
Yep, nice cleanup there. All right, this is going to be a long fight. Magical Journey into a couple of ultimates there, right onto the Rumble.
Alistar takes up for a while. Mad Life's definitely durable, but Coco has to wait around for his cooldowns anyway. We're early enough in that it's still mostly a poke chase. Misses that shock blast, means you got to buy even more time.
Yeah, Smeb on the front line takes forever to go down. Nobody quite yet, but Coco's got his eye on the prize. There it is.
Bam! Takes down one. Magical Journey out, and right here, a little bit late, they don't catch Coco, which means he gets to deal damage, survive just long enough for Prey, and everyone else to start cleaning up on both sides of the fight, really.
Yeah, not quite perfect timing coming out of that Magical Journey, and that's all that they needed. CJ gonna take that game. 1-1 here. Let's head into game number 3.
And game 3, CJ just got better and better over time. Here we are into this one, and it's okay. Early gank on by Shy. Steal a bunch of damage. Kuro over the wall without much mana on Azir means he's not going to do much in this fight.
Yeah, Smeb teleports in, and they got the Rumble ultimate down. Azir ultimate down. Nothing left in the tank.
Civ ulti to help you guys re-engage, and now Smeb pretty much caught out. Nice knock backwards, and that means chase down comes
Prey's
through.
arrived, guys.
Great, to flash away from a hook. That's not the best way to join into a fight, to lose a cooldown. And this is just an immaculate turret dive here. Mad Life, an amazing hook. They catch on a Prey. 2-man stun doesn't even matter here.
Oh, yeah. Mad Life with the Samsung skin right there as well, paying homage, and they're going to take him down under the turret.
And Lantern now, all is well, but more Mad Life. Hooks. Man, you check Baron, it doesn't even Mata. Knock people down. Goodbye to the front line. CJ very far ahead here, 18-2.
Oh, Mad Life hooks you in. There's no way Nahus can hook himself out of there. And they push on to the Nexus to take the series.
All right, 2-1. CJ still very near the top of the standings. Ku Tigers, a reverse from the spring split, basically. Really, really rough start to them. Talking about reversals, Samsung have not been the same team since Season 4, literally and figuratively. Whereas SKT have just been absolutely amazing all season long. So top versus bottom, Samsung starts out with a vengeance, going after Marin.
Yeah, straight up top here, Eve on Eve, able to connect with the gank. Double flashes there to pick it up.
Yeah, one more than was needed, but either way, a great gank. But SKT able to fire back. Small gold lead in the dive on towards Fury, Wraith, and Eve.
Yeah, Easy Hoon in the bottom here, able to lead up this turret dive, and Marin comes down, ready to clean everybody up.
And eventually, he does knock down the enemy jungler with one more Flame Spitter. I know the puns are easy with names this good. So, All right, Easyhoon and Co. looking a bit better. How about a big team fight around Dragon? 53 minutes in, keep in mind, so death timers are forever.
Oh, yeah, they dive pretty deep onto Bang over here, but Marin gets caught out by himself. Fury's able to clean this one up, and the rest of SKT are going to chase him down.
He might miss a top laner, but yeah, Crown was one hit away from dead, and Easyhoon is just on the chase no matter how fast Fury tries to run. Easyhoon just a little bit faster.
I can't cut that corner, buddy.
All right, and 54-minute death timers means pushing into the Nexus is easy. Those guys are still dead from the prior fight. So SKT in a slobber knocker take game 1.
Slobber knocker.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into game number 2 here. Easyhoon got the victory. He's going to stay in. However, he's going to be the early target this time around.
And yet again, Eve finds these great early games to get his team ahead. This time around, he gets Pawns.
Chuck that potion.
Crown's Fizz gets ahead. Every time I see him, I just expect it to be Pawn here. He's no longer in Korea, though. But this dive on Akuve is hilarious. He's still level 5, by the way, ignites, and then he's like, wait, I can kill one more minion, get 6, double kill.
Yeah, Bangi on Eve trying to make the early action start does not turn out well for them. That is not a good story, mid or top. Let's check in on the bottom lane. How's that one going, Freak?
A close fight, 3-2. This Q right there from Fury was great. Leads them to make sure they have to run into it, or they juke back into the team and die. Samsung, 5 dragons, fight around Baron. This dive towards Bang, he just can't do anything.
Yeah, pretty much that was the story. Top, mid, and bottom all got early leads, controlled all 5 dragons and the Baron here. Just an all-around victory for Samsung in that game.
All right, impressive by them. They took down SK Telecom T1, so 1-1. We go into game 3 to determine who really gets the points from this series.
Summon the final boss. Faker is here, and Bangi's at his back. Gonna gank the lane really early to get Faker off to a good start.
And no surprise, he picks a champion called Victor when they need to win one game right here. So how about a level lead and just sending the storm after the
All
crowd?
right, so Bangi helped out to the beginning. Those are some nice skill shot dodges. Lantern to save him as well, and he gets the kill. Faker, the work has just started. Now it gets easier and easier.
Yeah, Faker won a 1v3. How about winning a 3v1 right afterwards? 6-0 in this game. Most of those kills in the mid lane. Didn't really need the help, but 25 minutes, a very crushing victory for SK Telecom T1. So after 3 weeks of matches and 2 more this morning, here's a look at the current LCK standings. Today's win from SKT over Anarchy moves them to 5-0 with sole control of first place. Of course, CJ Entis is right behind him, hoping to catch up on Friday.
Meanwhile, Jin Air Green Wings, KT Rolster, and Najin EM Fire round out the top 5, and all are solid contenders for a postseason finish.
And that brings us to our BF game of the week, where CJ Entis will face SK Telecom T1. That series will take place this Friday at 5 p.m. in Korea, 10 a.m. in Central Europe, and 1 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
Yeah, at this point, last split, SKT and CJ Entis were both 3-1, with CJ having lost a game to the Tigers, while SKT lost a series against CJ. Right now, the two teams are just 1 series apart, although SKT has a slight edge as they have less losses in their matchups.
But if you look at these teams from a statistical angle, it's quite interesting. So CJ is the league leader with 160 kills throughout this split. They also have the shortest average game time, so fast, bloody games for them. Meanwhile, SKT, as you said, less losses. That means they have a higher gold per minute, and they have more kills per game, the highest in the league.
Now, CJ will have to sweep SKT if they hope to catch them in the standings after SKT's series win over Anarchy this morning. But whoever wins, this is going to be a great match.
It's going to be wonderful. Korea's been awesome so far, but let's switch over to the action in Europe. Up first, Froggen and the 1-1 Elements look to level up as they face the 1-1 Giants. All right, Pepinero's on your screen. This guy was awesome. His Diana was on fleek.
He should be on your screen a lot over this highlight reel. Pepinero, what a great start for him. Solo kill on Froggen.
Man, this guy went pretty much full AP. Even when he ended the game, didn't even have a Zonias with a full build here. Just more dives. Pepinero has slain someone else. What a surprise.
Fortunately for him,
someone else.
Diana, easy to dive with. One direction, straight go forward. And they're going to be just fine.
3 kills for Pepinero. This guy, very animated.
I can't believe it.
I'm crushing everybody. This is wonderful. Another quick dive. Spell immune to get through the gravity field and everything. And let's get another team fight in here.
Oh, yeah. And Frederick, he deserves a lot of credit as well for this game. Does get shut down there, but they're going to take the team fight victory.
Yeah, 34.5 minutes in, double kill. Pepe ends up ending the entire game with 12 kills and 9 assists. Just a brutal performance. You can see his items down there. Luden's Lichbane, Void Staff, wonderful things. Crushed it the whole time around. Let's take a quick look at the Giants' performance so far this split against where they were after last split after 2 weeks. When they started out this time around 3-1, which is pretty good. Last time around they started out 2-2, so an improvement here. Now, in the spring split, though, that 2-2 scoreline, they only lost to Unicorns of Love and H2K, and yet Giants still found themselves in the promotion tournament at the end of it all. So even if they look good in the first couple of weeks, they didn't always hold up to it.
However, this time around, their team KDA is much higher, as is their gold per minute. They only managed 5 wins last split, and they face the possibility of relegation in that promotion tournament. Now, after 2 weeks, they're seemingly on track for a much better performance.
Well, that's great news for Giants fans out there. And next we get to see how they do against some of the other top teams. They are facing a tough test on Friday when they face Fnatic. This will help them prove how strong they really are. And speaking of tough tests, SK Gaming have had a hard road ahead of themselves as well. SK began the spring split with 8 straight wins, but the summer split here has been 2 straight losses, and they face a 3rd loss in a row when they faced Xpeke in Origin.
Oh yeah, people have had a hard time with Origin, and Neosil on Urgot has been a big part of that problem.
A hardcore dive, they're doing what they can to knock these kills down, but the TP in from Soaz could mean better things. And Svenskeren is going to get chased down for first blood to Niels.
All right, first blood and blue buff on the Urgot. How painful that is.
Well, pretty painful. It's 9-1 so far in this game, only 22 minutes in. And there's a swap. Fox can try to get away, but he's not getting away.
Niels with the swap, and they get the kill there. Fox goes down. Nice catch.
Familiar face there. Peke has led Origin to a pretty darn strong split so far. More chases, and somehow, by the way, these guys don't die. Like, Origin just tanks up everything. Doesn't matter who gets caught.
Found himself in the wrong part of the forest on that one. Here goes another swap, and they've got Fox.
Fox knocks him back, but just dies anyway. Niels in the front line, a great stun as well from Amazing. We're at 36 kills in a 38-minute game. Make that 37 kills in a 38-minute game. I mean, just fantasy goldmine here with Origin this week.
Oh my goodness, yeah. When they start killing you, they don't stop.
No, absolutely wonderful team. So after 2 weeks, here are the standings over in Europe. Fnatic and Origin remain the only 2 undefeated teams, and they are tied for first place at 4-0.
And Giants, H2K, and the Unicorns, they all have moved into a tie for 3rd place with 3 wins and 1 losses. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the table, we've got a lot of catching up to do. There are 3 1-3 teams, while SK and Gambit are still winless.
And to put a magnifying glass over the European LCS now, let's bring in Devin Pyrotechnics. Young, how's it going, Pyra?
Pretty good, Riv. It's summer, so it, of course, means the weather is heating up, and so is the competition here in Europe.
Does feel good. Another week of action coming up. First up, however, I want to talk about the spring split MVP for the European LCS, Forgiven.
Ooh, don't you mean Owen Forgiven? Right now, this guy is having a whole lot of troubles fitting in with the new Gambit squad. At this point, last split, when he was with SK Gaming, he hadn't died yet. He had insane numbers put up every week. And right now, he's really on the lower end of the table, only 1.4 KDA or so. And his team overall has really not been helping all that much. Gambit are struggling at the bottom right now, and they're really just trying hard to find that first win. On the other hand, they were starting to come together a little bit as a team. We saw that play well against Fnatic. And of course, they'll have a few more easier matches, at least easier on paper coming up this week. So expect them to, keep your fingers crossed, hopefully pick up a win.
So until they get their first win, you're saying these guys are at the bottom of the food chain. Why don't you go ahead and take us up that food chain?
Yeah, well, go ahead. Let's start at the bottom because that's how it tends to go, right? At the bottom, you've got Gambit Gaming. They're swimming around there with SK still hunting for that first win. Of course, you move up a little bit, and then you get your small fish. These are Elements, Roccat, Wolves. These are the guys that eat the minnows. They've really only so far been able to beat those 2 teams, and they're looking to try their luck with the bigger fish who come up next. That's H2K, that's Giants, Unicorns of Love. These guys are 3-1. They've only lost to the top teams in the league. And speaking of those, let's move it on up because these are the real sharks. You're talking Fnatic and, of course, Origin, the newcomers who have torn everyone to shreds.
And speaking of sharks, someone has been devouring everyone in the top lane, that someone being Soaz.
Absolutely. This guy is insane. He's been rocking just about everybody he plays against. And this is in a league that's, stacked with mid laners. You've got Huni in there. You've got Otawamne. And he right now has the highest KDA out of any one of these top laners, contributing a ton of damage. I believe it's something like 7.9. And he just really puts up big numbers. But don't be too sure of yourself, especially if you're starting him in fantasy. As we see from some of his more colorful antics, he doesn't care about your points.
He does not, and that whole team is looking good. I guess sometimes you got to step back and take a look at the competition to really start doing well. Thank you very much, Pyra. It sounds like you're going to be needing a bigger boat over there in Europe. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Try to stay afloat until then, Riv.
So while we go cut some bait, let's send it over to our chum Freak, who has been sorting through your tweets.
Hey again, everyone, and yes, I am totally hooked on the Twitter sphere. Hope I don't flounder, but I don't think my puns are that crappy. Now, last week we asked you to tell us how many times will Bard be played across the 5 premier regions, and the correct answer was 8 Bards. 7 of you got it right. Now, we groupered up your tweets. There is a sea of them, but we reeled in the correct ones, and now it's time to congratulate the Dark Raccoon, Falky89, AZJT86, Temi116, Brendan Gyormer, iWelchie, and Blessed GFX. You guys have indeed tempered fate. However, 2 of you out there managed to send your tweets on a truly magical journey and have made it all the way to the PTL Hall of Fame. To do that, you needed to also add which pro would have the highest KDA on the Wandering Caretaker this week. The correct answer was Lustboy, whose KDA was 7.0. Congratulations and a special welcome to the PTL Hall of Fame for Ross Taylor X and Amish Twinkie. That is an amazing screen name, but I don't know how you could watch PTL if you are indeed Amish. It feels like it's against what you're all about. But either way, if you didn't manage to get the question right, fear not, because we are all about 2nd, 3rd, 70th chances here on the PTL. With that in mind, this week we're spotlighting a champion who is brand new to the scene. So let us know, how many times will Echo be picked in the LCS this week? To join the party with Amish Twinkie and the others in the Hall of Fame, tell us how many total kills Echo will also get this week. So kick your Z-Drive residents into gear and send your answers to @LOL Esports along with the hashtag PTL, and we will check your answers next week.
Well, you know, if Quicker Cupcake is still available, I'm so taking that Twitter handle. Anyway, let's check out what happened last week in the LMS as BB and Assassin Sniper faced BB's former team, the Taipei Assassins. Both of these teams near the bottom 4 of the standings, so really looking to climb up with a win here. TPA would start things off early on Maple Snow in the top lane, but it did not work out as they expected. It's Morning going down. Then Domo doesn't expect it to be Zonda coming around from the outside, and they pick up some kills to get the team going. Smiles all around. Way this game, 70% kill participation around the board, helping Baby get the kills in the bottom lane here. And once again, Zonda always having a hand in the dish as the team feeds. They go for more. That's going to be Way's kill as he picks it up. A little bit of that kill participation on the board. And Chowie takes the arrow right in the Jowie. Gets taken down. CC after CC. That double AD comp of the Varus and the Ashe, just way too much. And arrows heard cross the rift. Another one hits Domo in the face. They're able to just keep picking up these skirmish kills without, as you see, TPA being able to grab the 5-on-5 fights instantly onto the Nexus due to the result of that. And Assassin Snipers were able to come up with a very nice first game win. Putting TPA on their back heel, that game was about a 16,000 gold lead for Assassin Snipers, but TPA would fight back much harder in game 2, albeit still a very tough game. The arrows continuing to come in here, and Assassin Snipers would continue to focus. UA looking to get out of this one, but Zonda's ults, whether it was on Rek'Sai or the Gragas, was able to pick it up for the Snipers. Baby coming through this game very strong already on the Ashe, and they continue to win the skirmish fights pretty much single-handedly here. From each side of the wall, they're all doing their own thing in the fight and making sure they have the target they need to hit. TPA cannot figure out what to do. Inside the base, it's going to be the final try here as UA comes in. The will is on. Alistar trying to take everything up, but you can just see how the Snipers can see the fight, assess the fight, and then take it to TPA. Once again, forcefully pushing them out of the base. You can see how much closer this one was, though. TPA actually on the front doorstep of Assassin Snipers base, but that only means it was easier for the Snipers to take them out and head to the other side of the rift for the victory. And after 3 weeks and the 2 matches from this morning, here's a look at the current LMS standings. AHQ is way out in front with a perfect 5-0 record, but after winning their series this morning, the Flash Wolves are closing in as the only real contenders as the rest of the table is struggling. And as you can see by the standings, AHQ has a lock on first place. They are currently 4 points ahead of the Flash Wolves and show no signs of slowing down. The team currently has an 8.3 KDA with 22.6 kills per game, easily the highest in the LMS. They have not lost a regular season game since week 7 of the spring split. And of course, they went on to stun everyone by taking down Hong Kong Esports, Taipei Assassins, and the Flash Wolves in the playoffs to walk away as the spring split champions. Now with their 5-0 record, it looks like they are on their way to repeating that performance this summer.
Hello friends, Freak here, and yes, I am back so you can bask in my glory once more. And of course, the PrimeTime League, Fantasy League of Legends, Legendary League is also worthy of your praise. But as you can see, there was a lot of competition this week in the league with Mark Merrill trouncing Chandler Riggs and Rick Fox slaying the Dragons. Now, Quickshot outscored Gordon Hayward, even though he pled for mercy in this tweet. Listen, Quickshot, my guys cannot take another loss like last week. Take your cool accent, and your team and go home. I actually feel bad for Mr. Hayward. He's the third highest in total points of PTL FL4, but a tough schedule has him at 0-2. Does this remind you of any other amazing fantasy owners, maybe from the spring split, like a certain pun master? Whatever. Anyway, I also managed to triumph over Dante Basco. And in the light of good sportsmanship, Dante, you two-toned, zebra-headed, slime-coated, pimple-farming, paramecium brain munching on your own mucus, suffering from freak envy. Good game. Maybe you should have wished happier thoughts, and it might have gone better for you. Now, not to add insult to injury, but 63% of you guys at home predicted that this would happen and that I would win. Thank you for being smart. Now, next week, the competition continues as Mark Merrill faces the jazzy Gordon Hayward. The Dragons face Quickshot and his hair gel, and Rick tries to outfox Dante O. I myself will be facing Chandler Riggs, and I'm really sorry, but I couldn't resist doing one of these. I can't recall, Coral. I am hilarious. So before the week of fantasy begins, send a tweet to @LOL Esports to show your support. Tag at #Freak when you think I can handle the Chandler, or #Chandler win if you think he can take me down. So go ahead and tweet those answers while we power up our own fantasy game. And just so you guys know, there is more room to praise me because #FreakWin is a shorter one, so make sure to use all 140 characters to tell me how awesome I am. Anyhow, looking back at week 2 of the Fantasy LCS, let's highlight some studs. Up first, Niels. 4 players from Origin ended up among the top 10 scorers last week, but Niels blew everyone else away with his 79.2 points. Number 2 top point earner was Pepinero. This guy rode the wave of these surging giants. He got 69.2 points in their 2-0 week. I wonder if he gets all that power from his luxurious hair. I mean, it is pretty wonderful, right? Now, while 7 of the top 10 spots were owned by Origin and Giants players, Rockets jungler Yankos was the next top player not on those teams, 62.1 points for him, so another great result there. Now, we do have to sound the sad trombone for the duds. First, we have Unlimited. Now, he averaged -0.2 points per game as the Copenhagen Wolves fell to the Unicorns of Love, and Origin sounds more like limited to me. Am I right? Airwalks also crashed and burned. Soren did as well. Honestly, Copenhagen Wolves, a really bad week. I know I said to play those guys. Sorry. Okay, we'll try to keep the schedule in mind a little bit better. As we go on. Anyhow, joining Unlimited in the duds department is Gosu Pepper, who averaged 4.2 points per game in Gambit's 2 losses. We did warn you to bench a bunch of Gambit players, so that one we get credit for. Element support Promiscu also rounds out the duds after averaging only 4.7 points per game. Now, here are some alerts for you to keep in mind this week in the LCS. First up, Cloud9. They are off to a pretty slow 1-3 start this split, and while there's a chance they turn things around, growth seems to be pretty slow for these guys, so in my opinion, bench any C9 players for a while, play the waiting game, maybe drop them entirely, up to you. Next up, TDK. They remain on the alert list again. Their intended starters, Ninja and Emperor, are finally in, so that means Bishu and Latman are gone, so for sure get rid of those guys. And even still, TDK are 0-4. We've seen a lot of their starters already. It's been slow for these guys. If you want to go for them, it's a risk. Now, finally, Azingi is our final big alert here. It was announced yesterday that the former Winter Fox jungler Helios would be joining Team Dignitas, and that means you got to find a new jungler. Much less playing time for Azingi on the Rift, so not useful there. Now let's talk about some sleepers to consider. Up first is Audrey. This Giants AD carry plays Rocket this week, which should be a good game for fantasy points, but it's also, he plays Fnatic. Now, Fnatic's are a tough opponent, but they tend to play higher kill games, and right now Audrey is the second highest point earner across the LCS, and he isn't even being played very much, so probably a worthy pickup just overall. Similarly, Move is someone to consider. Gravity plays CLG and Dignitas this week, and Move is the 4th highest earning jungler in the LCS. So if you need a jungler, maybe grab this guy. Seems to be going pretty well. Next up, Forgiven and the rest of Gambit. Gambit has the easiest possible schedule this week. They play the Copenhagen Wolves at 1-3 and SK Gaming at 0-4. If there's ever a time for Forgiven to turn it on and grab some points, this is it. I personally put Forgiven and Betsy back into my roster this week because I believe in Gambit's earnings this time around. Either way, that's it for our fantasy update heading into week 3. Remember, play smart. That's not the name of a pro. Play play smart. Adjust those lineups because it's go time at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So while you're busy calibrating your lineups, let's bring in a little vocal harmony from the pros. It's time for mic check.
Uni, of course, go Uni, go. Uni. Like, it's no point to sit.
Actually, he's jelly. He's so much jelly.
Are you getting in the zone?
I want to sleep.
What?
Okay.
What?
I want to sleep.
What do you mean you want to sleep?
You want to sleep? Can't sleep?
There you go, buddy.
That's good
There you
stuff.
go.
Good stuff.
There you go. You hype, you hype. Is this your Thresh throwing arm? Thresh hook arm?
I'm going to base that set. I have to run away. Yep. Good job. Help Steve.
Lantern, Steve.
No, you can do whatever you want. I have Lantern.
All day today, Rise is first pick blue side.
Well, Surf said Gums doesn't play Rise, so...
Alright, Surf.
If they first pick Rise, then we can all blame Surf.
Alright, so if we get Rise, do we start celebrating?
Yo, Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Sarah.
Sarah?
Camp top.
You're in danger in dive.
Carry Gragas, we don't know where he is.
Morgana bot.
Your gut is still missing. Okay, he's back. Your gut top, maybe. Oh, nice!
Nice.
Go for Maokai.
Yeah, I'm a
Flash.
I heal you.
I got it.
He's dead. Nice.
I got it.
No!
Good job. Can we sing and not be on the voice comms?
People fall in love in mysterious ways. Baby.
Nice.
Why can't we just stay together? Oh yeah, baby.
Do you know what it feels like?
Help.
What is love?
Better have my baby.
Nice!
Yeah. Baby.
And now...
Who do we blame if they first pick Rise? You blame yourself. There's no one else to blame.
I mean, Seraph's the one who clicked the ban, so if he just, disobeys. Either way, joining me for our duet is going to be Kobe to bring things full circle and check out the highlights from the North American LCS. Up first, it's Cloud9 taking on Gravity. Both these teams hit the rip with a 1-1 record. One of these teams is going to go and actually have a winning record at the end of this all.
All right, let's jump into the game here. Close up on Lemonation, but it's Incarnation who actually gets the attention from Gravity first.
Yeah, and Gravity Field just seems to not be very effective against a team that already uses that as their moniker. So Keen, first blood here, getting stunned doesn't seem to matter for him. It's a good start.
Yeah, he kept on using that Twisted Fate ultimate to get right back up into the action. Right here, though, hook onto balls to start it off. He gets exhausted.
Yeah, hey, they gave away first pick Rise. Whose fault is that? Well, it doesn't really matter because Gravity are going to do a great in this fight. Keen right here gets focused, but he gets to pop the Zonias just in time, and then mistimed Ezolt and Victor allows him to flash away, and his team cleans up.
Yeah, the problem with this Rise is that he had to jungle for the first 10 minutes of the game, so not quite as powerful as you're used to seeing. Gravity able to clean up the rest of Cloud9 after they take him down as well.
Yeah, beautifully played lane swap, and Gravity finally looking very good for one of the first times all split long. Desperation Baron by Cloud9. They peel back, but just down goes Sneaky at the very start. Alltech on cleanup duty.
Yep, there's pretty much no escape here. Meteos gets hooked back in. Not going to let him out either. Incarnation and Lemonation, also chased down.
Keen takes the kill. It would have been a quadra for Alltech, but either way, Gravity looking great. And with Cloud9 starting out 1-3 this split as well, we've got to kind of talk about the mid lane change, Incarnation in, high out. And right now, stat-wise, it's very interesting because the effect of the champions on the map is actually very similar. KDA, Gold per minute, even wards placed are quite similar.
Yeah, well, that's why you have to pay attention to a lot more than just pure stats, because the games look totally different. There's a lot of stuff that High brought to the team, his shot calling, their in-game camaraderie, that really look to be off kilter here. No matter how much, Meteos was doing half the shot calling before and they've sort of transitioned it, they're clearly missing a lot of direction on the field, and they're definitely struggling, integrating this new roster and figuring out what direction do they want to go with it, because clearly Incarnation is not a High replacement. Yeah. He's a different player. They need to play a little bit differently with him.
Yeah, I think a really good example of this was when TSM switched Reginald out for Bjergsen, and it was a very different style of player, and it took him a split to really get going, but obviously TSM became amazing. Maybe we can see C9 do the same thing. Either way, we're talking about comparison. Let's take a look at Gravity, because Spring Split versus Summer Split Gravity, both these guys started out 3-0. You could say there's slightly better stats right now for Gravity in the summer, but to me, this team looks so much different and so much better.
Yeah, they definitely did. And especially just from week 1 to week 2, Gravity made so many improvements. They look way better. Bunny Fufu is a guy with a lot of room to grow as a shot caller, and he's already shown that he's willing to put in that work, and he's taking those steps, as well as Move, the other guy that they brought in for the jungle, replacing St. Vicious. Those are some big shoes to fill, but man, his week 1 to week 2 improvements were amazing.
And I actually really liked the Altec replacement. I initially said it was a side grade, but it seems like it fits what Gravity wants to do right now. Bunny said his laning is way better than Cops, so we're seeing much more early game leads from Gravity. And he said that the weakness for Altec is maybe his team fight positioning. It was something that Cop was really good at and that Altec's not quite as good at. But it seems like with all these leads they're getting and Altec's ability to find farm throughout the game, that doesn't seem to be a weakness just yet. Maybe it bites them later on, but so far this new Gravity lineup is looking absolutely amazing. Anyway, now let's take a look at a renewed rivalry in the North American LCS. Counterlogic Gaming and Team Solomid met on the Rift for the first time this split, and it was a very fun game.
Oh yes, Dyrus smiling before the game. Things to come, things to come. TSM, they actually had a lot of control this game, winning CS in all 3 lanes. And here's the first big move from TSM. 5 members bottom, focus at double left and Aframu. They're able to pick up the kill and take objective afterwards.
Yeah, Dyrus even TP'd with a minion wave on his turret, sacrificed the farm to make sure the kills happen. TSM to move it a little bit more. They look for Afra, they look for Zion, they put him all the way back in under their turret. They're only up a little bit of gold, but it's starting to work out for TSM.
Yeah, CLG pulled this one back. It was very close in the mid game, but this fight at the doors of TSM was a little bit too close. Dyrus got the Gnar ultimate back into the turret, and the rest of the team were able to chase CLG out of their house.
And it's an unofficial pentakill for Bjergsen as well. Triple, then a double. Just amazing player, obviously.
Bjergsen this game just took over with LeBlanc. Absolutely. Pretty much what we've come to expect from Bjergsen, actually.
Yeah, he was about half his team's kills in this game in particular, and just crushing it. Pillbelter, new mid laner for CLG, did what he could on Azir, but just simply too much gold. The team just ran over all the soldiers, and it was a very convincing win by the end of it for TSM. So, with 20 games behind us, here's a look at the standings in North America. There was a bottleneck of 5 teams with 3-1 records, all tied for first place right now from CLG on down to TSM.
After a rough start of the split, Cloud9 is on the other side of the standings at 1-3, while Team 8 and TDK are still looking for their first win.
And now it's time to take a look back at the biggest, baddest plays from last week's battles, or as Echo already called it 4 seconds ago, the Penta. At number 5, only SKT shadows were left as Kuve picks up an instant double kill.
We'll see if they can get Kuve. No level 6 for Hecarim.
Yeah, Equalizer is here. Kuve just trying to escape as much as he can. A lot of tower damage onto Mar, though Kuve might be able to actually turn this around. Bengi doesn't get it, but there's Onslaught of Shadows and an instant double kill. Kuve, such excellent play.
Coming in at number 4, Beast lives up to his name with the Baron steal.
Into them, and they thought they had the kill there.
Oh,
my
he
God.
steals it! Beast with the godlike plays, heads over, happy to die, because he's put the Baron buff onto 2 of his team members and netted a whole bunch of gold. What the hell?
Just like that.
At number 3, Don Cholo's Lulu gets some help from Pix to pick up the pentakill.
Definitiva de Nautilus por sobre Fearless, le van a ir con toda esa Sivir. El enormizar de parte de la Lulu va a caer rápidamente el tirador Sivir. Cae también Fearless en Esquirelia. Como continúa este asesinato triple para la Lulu. La gente de Gaming quiere salir jugando. Se viene el cuadro, se viene el Penta. Pentakill de la Lulu, Pentakill de Don Cholo. Increíble jugada de Gaming. Pentakill al minuto 15. Skycho, ¿qué está pasando en este enfrentamiento?
Watch Reckless get dunked in our unforgiving number 2 play.
Has got that Seraph's Embrace upgraded. Dragon is
Fox going in. Reckless hiding in plain sight. Gets caught. Double knockup. Forgiven with the dunk.
1, 2, 3. Reckless is down.
So let's talk about this play, right? Diamond Proc says, okay guys, watch this. Body slam, explosive cat. Edwards reacts immediately with the knockup. That was beautiful.
And rolling in at number 1, it was Godvi with the pentakill.
Luca does get knocked up. There's the double knockup as POL heads underneath the tower. He does pop the ultimate there, but there's the 3-man knockup with the Shockwave and Spirit trying to get some work done. But man, look at these ultimates and spells going through from Godby. He's cleaning up the fight. Quadra kill already. Godby looking for the Penta. He doesn't get it. Oh my goodness, the Ludens, and delivered the Pentakill. Godby really making the moves happen for LGD.
Hopefully we can see some pentakills of our own in the LCS this week. And remember that if you do see a pro play worthy of PTL, slap a hashtag #ThePenta on it and send it our way to @LOL Esports. Well, everyone, that wraps up another episode of PrimeTime League. Turbo. Not so fast, buddy. If your knuckles have been turning white and you've been grinding your molars into powder when your favorite teams get into fights, find some inner calm and relax. Just do like the pros do. And our last hit.